Want to grow an online business online?
Are you tired of sacrificing and struggling?
Do you wish to have a profitable online business doing something that you love? Do you look at other entrepreneurs and wonder
what they have that you don't?
Well, welcome to the Ballhead Marketing Podcast, a place where online entrepreneurs can learn new marketing strategies for their online business and be inspired by other entrepreneurs who are making a difference online. Listen as your host, Ahmad Austin, unveils unique marketing strategies from marketing experts and from his own personal experience. Welcome to ballheadmarketing.com, unveiling marketing strategies to get more leads and more sales.
Welcome to Ballhead Marketing.
Hey, Ahmad Austin here with Ballhead Marketing. Today I have an awesome guest. His name is TJ Walker. TJ is a world-renowned media trainer. He's been doing public speaking training workshops since 1984. So he's been around. He's interviewed, well, not interviewed, but he's trained people such as presidents of countries, prime ministers, Nobel Peace Prize winners, Super Bowl winners, U.S. senators, and many more. He's also the #1 rated YouTube channel. He's also a host of the #1 rated YouTube channel devoted to public speaking. You will enjoy this interview. It's not long, but it's a lot of good information about public speaking and how to improve your public speaking. So all you entrepreneurs out there that are interested in improving your public speaking skills, check out the audio, check out the interview, and I know you'll like it. Thanks. Hi, TJ. Tell me a little bit about yourself and what it is you do in the business world.
Well, imagine you had to speak in front of 100 or 500 or 1,000 colleagues in your industry. Are you certain that you would appear your best, look comfortable, confident, relaxed? Would people understand you? And most important, would they even remember your message? That's what I help people do. I help people speak more effectively anytime they have to talk, whether it's to 2 people or 200 or 2,000. I also help people speak to the media more effectively. If the New York Times called you and interviewed you for a half an hour, how would you know in advance what 2 or 3 quotes would get in that story? I teach people how to come across their very best in media interviews and to not just answer the questions effectively, but to get the actual quotes or sound bites in the story that they prepared in advance. So that's what I do at MediaTrainingWorldwide.com.
Awesome. Now, how did you get into public speaking and teach people about improving their public speaking skills?
I won a Fonzie lookalike contest in 1975, and the reward was I got to do my junior high school newscast the next day. And that was sort of my first time to deal with the media.
Okay.
And 6 months earlier, I was about to graduate from elementary school, and my teacher came to me with a deal. She said, TJ, I'm going to give you a C in handwriting, but I'll give you an A in handwriting if you give the welcoming speech to parents, teachers, students on graduation day.
Wow.
And I was a very shy kid. I never said much of anything. Mm-hmm. But I figured that's a deal too good to be passed up. So
right.
I said, why not? I gave the speech. It wasn't anything fantastic, but I learned at an early age, if you're just willing to stand up and speak, good things will happen to you. Give you stuff.
Right.
And at some level, ever since then, everything I've done has either involved media or public speaking or politics. And at the very same time as all this was going on, I ran for student government when I was 12 years old.
Right. So you were never nervous?
Sure, I was nervous.
How did you get over that nervousness?
I did it the way that you had to do it back then, which is just keep doing it until it's familiar. And you practice and you make mistakes. I would make mistakes in front of 1,000 other students. These days, you don't have to do it that way. These days, you can practice and just hold a cell phone in front of yourself, record yourself on video, and get rid of all the nervous stuff. I have an absolute foolproof way, I guarantee, to get rid of the nerves of any of your listeners before they give a speech.
Okay.
And all you have to do is practice your speech in the privacy of your own home, or your own office, capture it on video, and watch it, and keep doing that until you like what you see. Now, most people, when they watch a video of their own speech, their first reaction is, oh my God, TJ, I'm boring as heck. I wouldn't want to watch me. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, why do you expect anyone else to want to watch you?
Right.
So they think the lesson is, well, I learned the lesson here. don't ever watch video of myself. Well, no, that's not the lesson. The lesson is, if you think you're really boring, guess what? You're right. Take your speech, throw it in the trash can, and come up with a new one that isn't boring. So the real key to getting over nervousness isn't practicing on video. It's practicing it on video and redoing it until you like what you see. And
I got you.
Most people aren't willing to do that because most people are lazy. My garage is messy. It's not because I don't have the skills or knowledge to have a clean garage. I have a messy garage because I'm lazy.
Right.
And anyone who says they're a nervous speaker, I'm sorry, but all that really means is you're lazy.
Wow.
It's really easy to give a great speech. It requires zero genetic talents.
Mm-hmm.
It requires zero performance skills or innate skills. All it requires is just a basic willingness to do something unpleasant. The very same task I need in order to clean my garage.
Right.
I've got to get out there for a few hours and pick up stuff and throw stuff away and sort stuff, look at it again until it looks good. Mm-hmm. It's exactly the same thing with your speech. You have to speak, capture it on video with your cell phone or your webcam, look at it. All of your listeners have had a lifetime of experience listening to speakers, teachers,
right.
professors, new business pitches, executives, people in your organization. Mm-hmm. All of us have heard thousands of speakers. We know what's awful and boring, and we know what's good and interesting.
Right.
So use that knowledge you have on yourself. Yeah. Most people aren't willing to do that. I have clients. I work in 6 continents. I work with people in every single industry.
That's awesome.
And it doesn't matter if it's an NFL star, a president of a country, a prime minister, a Nobel Peace Prize winner, Miss Universe. Everyone's the same. Mm-hmm. And that people generally think of themselves as not very good speakers.
Right.
They think that somebody in some other country or some other position is just inherently better than they are.
Right.
And they think a speech is about gathering as many facts as possible together and putting it on a piece of paper or a PowerPoint slide and quickly going through all the points. That's not a speech. That's a boring data.
Right.
Work well.
Right. Now, how important is it for entrepreneurs to improve their public speaking skills?
It depends on their industry. I mean, if you have the absolute greatest software in the world, mm-hmm. and you're the only company in the world that can prevent Sony from being hacked, well, yeah, maybe you can be the world's worst speaker and still be successful. Bill Gates, when he was building his company, mm-hmm. was really not a very good speaker. He has since grown to be an excellent speaker in the last 15 years or so.
Right.
So I'm not going to tell you that every single person has to be a world-class speaker, but I can tell you that all things being equal, it sure is a huge, huge bonus. It is a huge plus.
Oh, yeah.
Think of Steve Jobs. So much of what his ability was when he stood up and spoke and put the spotlight, whether it was the Air Mac, the iPad, the iPhone, the iPod. When he gave a speech, the whole world watched. Certainly the whole tech world watched.
That's true.
And it's just a tremendous advantage, in part because most of your competitors are not good speakers. Most people in most industries are awful speakers, and they think of it as some drudgery, and they think I'll do just enough to get by. Well, if you're going to be successful in business, ideally your philosophy isn't let me do just enough to get by. You should be coming up with a product, with a service that you think is world class, that you think is a lot better than your competitors.
Right.
So why in the world wouldn't you actually try to give a speech and a presentation and a sales pitch better than all your competitors? Now, speaking isn't the only thing, but there are certainly situations where people who are awful business people are still successful because of their speaking abilities. I would point to Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a horrible business person. If you were ever an investor in any of his companies or in his casinos, you basically lost almost all of your money.
Wow.
He has publicly bragged about how he was minus $1 billion net worth at times in the past, when he still told Forbes he deserved to be on the richest list in the world. He's been bailed out by his family, and yet polls show he's the most respected businessman in the world. Why? He's a good speaker.
Wow.
So I'm not suggesting you say, well, I want to be a good speaker so I can be a good charlatan.
Right.
But good charlatans are good speakers. But good business people are also good speakers too.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs, look at Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
Great investor, fantastic public speaker.
Now, YouTube is a big resource for entrepreneurs. They use it as a platform to market their business. Can you give us a few tips for people who are maybe starting a YouTube channel that want to kind of present themselves in a way that'll help drive traffic to their website or business?
Yes, don't use YouTube to market your business. It doesn't work. What you have to do is use YouTube to market your ideas that actually help people in their businesses.
I got you.
If you do that, then people might be willing to give you their email so you can communicate with them, or their phone number so you can communicate with them. But too often I see people just do ridiculous videos that are like it's a 30-second commercial, and they spend all this time with special effects and glitz and graphics, and that just doesn't work on YouTube. Now, it doesn't hurt if it looks better, but you should focus on having good ideas, good information, good sounding audio, and great information that helps people, as opposed to just thinking of it as a 30-second. I mean, I see people make all sorts of blunders, reading scripts, teleprompters. The worst thing in the world are these computer animations that talk because the person is too scared or chicken to show their. Why would I want to do business with someone who won't even show their face on the internet? You wouldn't walk into any store on Main Street and have someone hide behind a curtain and ask you to just put your money on the counter. And yet routinely we see people do that on the internet. So video is a great way to have people see who you are, see that you have value, see that you have expertise that will really help them. So one of my big pet peeves is this idea, internet marketing on video. Yeah, it is marketing, but it can't just be buy now and here's my phone number and can't be over that. You have to really give people a lot of value before you can ever expect them to give you it. I mean, I haven't asked your audience anything so far, and we've been talking for 10, 15 minutes, and I hope I've given them at least one piece of real value, which is you need to video record every speech you're ever going to give, every podcast, every interview you do. You need to practice on video until you are happy with it.
I got you.
Now that I've given some value, okay, I will ask for something. Go to my website, MediaTrainingWorldwide.com, and I will give you a couple of media training books or public speaking training books and an online training course, no extra charge. But what I am going to ask for is your email, your name, and your phone number.
Right.
But you can get that by going to my website at MediaTrainingWorldwide.com.
Awesome. I think they will find some good information on that. I'm loving the interview so far. A lot of things that I see far as learning about public speaking, it's a lot of, textbook stuff. And I like what you're saying, just about getting the camera and recording and just going over and over again, just kind of make yourself better till you like it. So that's awesome.
And, there's nothing wrong with textbook stuff. But the problem is most people don't follow the textbook. You can look at a Dale Carnegie book written 100 years ago, and he says, be conversational. Move your hands. A speech is not about delivering the most data points. And yet every day in major corporations in America and around the world, I have people come in to my presentation training course, and I always have them start off by giving a speech. And what do? They read, their head is down, they're not conversational, and they think of a speech as just a way to dump as much data as possible. So the problem isn't what the textbooks are saying. For the most part, the textbooks on public speaking all give great advice, although I would say the biggest omission from most textbooks on public speaking is the simple piece of advice I've given you already, which is just practice on video until you like it. If you do that, it solves almost every problem. The other big piece of advice I would give anyone who has a major speech or presentation is practice in front of a couple of people. So if you're giving a sales pitch on Thursday to 50 prospects, grab 2 colleagues or 2 friends from down the hall in a different business or different department on Tuesday. Give them your presentation at lunch. When you're done, ask them every slide they remember. Any slide of yours that they don't remember, take your slide and throw it in the trash can. You now have empirical evidence it didn't work. Right. Ask them every message they remember from your presentation, every story. Any message that was important to you that your 2 people, your 2 colleagues don't instantly throw back in your face, you now have empirical evidence that the way you presented that information didn't work. Throw your speech in the trash and start over again. I mean, it really isn't that complicated. People talk about public speaking, they call it a soft skill. It's like a little puppy. You never know where it's going to scamper off. I think that is absolute garbage. In my view, there is nothing about public speaking that is less quantifiable than any aspect of mathematics, chemistry, or physics. It's absolutely easy to quantify what works and what doesn't work with speaking. If you're
I hear you.
Speech, you ask people. If they don't remember, it didn't work. If they do remember, it did work.
Right. I hear you. All I can see is people just being afraid just to step up and get in front of people. What do you tell those folks that are kind of just scared to get in front of people?
Well, you should be. You should be scared to just get up and wing it in front of people, because chances are you're going to bore people to death. So, I don't mean to sound insensitive or rude or obnoxious, but if you're not willing to practice and actually get some evidence that you're interesting, you should be nervous. Now, people expect me to say things like, well, visualize a standing ovation and visualize success and, imagine the audience in their underwear. Well, that's, depending on your audience, that's either too disgusting or too exciting. So don't visualize your audience naked or in their underwear. There's all this sort of mumbo-jumbo motivation stuff about speaking that I think is just utter claptrap. The reason people are nervous about speaking is they are afraid, hey, I might be really boring. I might put everybody to sleep. I might be awful. Well, guess what? You might be all of those things. So the way to feel better about it is to actually know you have a good speech. It's not just to feel better about it. If I told you, gosh, I'm really nervous about walking through Times Square tomorrow totally naked at noon, I'm afraid people are going to laugh at me, and I'm afraid I might get arrested for indecent exposure. Now, would you say, well, TJ, I'm sure it's not that bad. Now, just visualize everybody cheering you on. Visualize the police looking the other way. Visualize that you might look like, Mr. Universe. I'm sure it'll be okay. Would you say that to me, Ahmed, or would you say, TJ, why don't you just put some pants on?
I would tell you to put some pants on.
I think you
Please.
Would. And that's my response to people who say they're nervous about speaking. Let's create an interesting speech.
Right.
And let's practice it in advance so that you know what you're giving out to the world. Yeah. So whether you're about to walk out in Times Square or to walk into an important business meeting or to a black tie event, most of us look in the mirror before we leave the house or the apartment.
Correct.
Why do we do that? We don't have to look at ourselves all day long. We look in a mirror, because we want to see, how does the rest of the world see us? Did we comb our hair the right way if we have any? Did we tie our tie? Did we wipe off the jelly stains or coffee stains from the front of our shirt? We look in a mirror because we want to see, how does the rest of the world see us? Well, it's exactly the same thing with a speech. You have to see your speech. Your speech is not a bunch of slides on a deck. Your speech is not text on a slide or a PowerPoint. Your speech is you actually speaking. The only way you can ever test that is you have to actually speak. You have to video record it. You have to watch it.
What are some good strategies entrepreneurs can use to control their image and message within their business?
Well,
I noticed you have a book on that.
I mean, the easiest way is give a great speech every time, because most entrepreneurs are awful speakers. Think of how many times we've all been to some business networking event,
Right.
some chamber of commerce event, and it's time for everyone to stand up and say a couple words about themselves, 30 seconds about themselves. And nobody says anything remotely interesting. Hi, my name is T.J. Walker. I'm with the law firm of Walker, Dewey, and Cheatham, and at our law firm, we handle all aspects of litigation, civil, criminal, domestic, blah, 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 and for all your legal needs, blah, 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 blah. Now, I guarantee you, if I went around the room 5 minutes later and put a $100 bill in front of everyone and said, well, say one thing I just talked about and two facts about my little speech, you get to keep the money, I'd never have to give away any money, because the way I just presented myself was so insanely boring and abstract and dry and mechanical, and it's the way everyone introduces themselves for the most part. So that's one thing right away an entrepreneur should do, is figure out how can they capture someone's interest. So, for example, if I'm at any kind of a networking event, I don't go to them very often, I don't start off by, my name is T.J. Walker, and I'm president of Media Training Worldwide, and I'm a #1 best-selling author, and I'm in the guy. I don't start off with all that. I start off with, imagine the New York Times calls you today and interviews you for 20 minutes about your business, and you come across the way you want, and you get the exact quotes you want promoting your business in the newspaper tomorrow. How would that feel? I'm T.J. Walker, and I can teach you how to get that. In fact, if you give me your business card at the end of the meeting, I'll send you my book, Media Training A to Z, at absolutely no charge. Boom. Less than 30 seconds, and I have people coming up to me after
give you that
their card. So, I mean, that's one way. Anytime you speak, you've got to get people excited. The other thing is you've got to really focus on something very, very specific that helps your customers. I see so much hype and idiocy on the internet of start this home-based business. Start a home-based business today. Let me tell you, there is no such thing as a home-based business. The only sort of business there is in the entire world is a customer-based business. And your customers, by and large, could not care less if you have the fanciest office in the world or if it's in a dirt shack somewhere. All they care about is themselves. And so when you're starting a new business, you got to figure out, what is it in the world that you're great at, that you're passionate about, that you care about, where people think you're good at it, and you think you're good at it, and you like doing it, that people are willing to pay money for.
Right.
And that's the biggest problem I see too many entrepreneurs not overcome, is they haven't really thought out what in the heck it is they're doing. So they're floundering around. Oh, let me start an ebook. Let me do a webinar. Let me start a podcast about this. And all of those things might work once you really identify your niche. But until then, you're just spinning your wheels. And I say this not because I was so brilliant to get it right at the beginning. I spun my wheels around in a lot of different directions too. And finally, I decided, okay, I do one thing. I help people speak more effectively. I mean, that's all I do.
Right.
And once I did that, once I narrowed my focus, my business really took off. So I do lots of one-on-one and small group workshops all over the world, training CEOs and mostly business executives, a lot of people in finance, but some entrepreneurs too, on how to speak more effectively to live audiences, giving speeches, PowerPoint presentations, sales presentations, but also speaking to the news media. Now, since I've been doing this for quite some time, so I have diversified my business, but I haven't gone broader and wider. I've gone deeper. So,
What do you mean by deeper?
I have more than 100 online public speaking and media training courses, but they're all different. I
saw that.
I have a public speaking course just for engineers, for example, because they think they're different. They think that they are uniquely skilled and uniquely disadvantaged at public speaking. And so I have a course just for them. And I have media training just for people in the oil and gas industry. Some of it's very, very specific, but it's also very specific to certain events, like how to give a wedding speech. So if you want more information about that, again, you can get some of these courses at no charge by going to my website at mediatrainingworldwide.com.
Awesome. Now, you have a lot of courses, you're doing a lot of things. What are some productivity hacks that you do to kind of keep yourself, staying on track? Because you usually have a lot going on.
Fear of starvation and being homeless, having a wife to support, kids.
I understand.
A house, a mortgage, a swimming pool, a tennis court. A lot of things to support.
I got you.
I'm not that I'm kidding about that, but the whole key is you have to find something you're interested in doing. Mm-hmm. When I get up in the morning at 5:30, I'm instantly looking at the news, and I'm instantly looking for stories where I can do commentary about how someone has done a great job speaking or done a horrible job speaking to the media. Right. So, I mean, it's what I would be doing anyway, because I've always liked looking at the news and watching news and reading news. So I'm analyzing opinions and creating opinions about how others shape media messages and how they communicate. So it's very difficult long term to be an entrepreneur and just to pick something because it's a good niche. I mean, there are people who do it who really don't care, and they hop into a hot niche.
Right.
But it is a lot harder to do that. If you pick something that you enjoy doing, then it doesn't really require motivation. You're just doing it because it's fun and interesting to you.
Yeah, correct. Now, we're close to the end of the interview. Is there any parting advice you would like to share with our audience?
Yes. Speak out every opportunity you can. And if you're an entrepreneur, I have a way you can get to give a speech every single day. It's called YouTube. I speak every single day on YouTube. I don't always speak to 100,000 people, but it's usually at least a couple thousand. And you know what? What if it's only 4 people, but one of those ends up being a great client of yours? So,
and your reason for doing this?
I am speaking out. I'm giving public speaking tips.
Okay, I got you.
Media training tips. So you go to youtube.com/media training, and you can watch hundreds and more than 1,000 of my videos. So part of it is public speaking tips, and part of it is analyzing newsmakers, what they're doing as either examples of great public speaking or great handling of themselves during a media crisis, or examples of what not to do. Right. And this way, I give added value to my clients who perhaps have already been to my training. It's my way of staying in touch with them, getting them to think about these issues. And it's also a way for me to stay in front of other people who are looking for information on any aspect of public speaking, presentation training, PowerPoint training, or media training, or crisis communications training.
Where can my audience find you online?
If they go to mediatrainingworldwide.com, that's the best place. Okay. And they can find out information about my public workshops, media training workshops, public speaking workshops. They can get a copy of Media Training A to Z as well as my #1 USA Today bestseller, Secret to Foolproof Presentations. They can get copies of those books for free if they just go to the website and fill out the form.
TJ, I appreciate you doing the call for me and doing this interview. I enjoyed it so much, and I know our audience will as well.
Thanks.
I appreciate it, TJ.
Very well.
Thank you so much. All right. Guys, check out his website. Go to his YouTube channel. He got a lot of information. As you can see, he has a lot of free information on improving your public speaking skills. As you know, I needed to. I'm not going to even front like I don't. I really want to improve on my public speaking skills. I have a lot of problems with enunciating my words and that kind of thing. So, again, this is a good person to follow, good person to get information from. Check out his website. Check out his products. A lot of stuff he's giving away free, so check him out. And talk to you guys soon. Find more about what we're doing over at Baldhead Marketing. Check out baldheadmarketing.com. I'm also have a good free giveaway that you can check out and download. Also, if you're interested in, if you like the podcast, leave a review on iTunes. I would love to hear what you think about the podcast and even how I can improve on it. Thanks so much.